So this fall, like this past fall, I splurged. I treated myself to a laser engraving machine. I am in love with it. It can do some amazing things, like it does basic lines and drawings, it can cut, it does pictures, although that's taking me a little bit longer to find the settings than I would have liked to admit to. The possibilities are just endless. And every week, I am finding more things that I can be attempting. It's great fun. Now, when you're lasering wood, something very obvious happens. Sawdust. Everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. It poofs up in these little clouds and leaves a nice coating over absolutely everything in the room, including the laser itself. When that little laser lens gets covered in too many layers of sawdust, it has trouble performing. The engraving will start skipping spots, so the fine detail gets lost. The cut no longer goes all the way through the wood, and you either go over it over and over and over and over again, or you try to snap those last couple millimeters, which works, but it's not very pretty. Personally, because I have a habit of giving inanimate objects personalities, I take those moments to say, he's tired. The laser has had a long day of doing beautiful work, and it's tired. So it's time for a nap. I turn it off, let him rest, walk away. Find something else to do for a little while. But here's the problem. You come back in the morning, turn it all back on. It's been a nice, long night's sleep for both me and the laser, and you have the exact same problem. It still isn't going to cut. There's still sawdust on the lens. If you don't make the effort to clean the poor thing, it just isn't gonna work properly, no matter how long you let it sit. And that's because there's a difference between rest and rest. One has italics. Many of us think that those 8 hours a night that we spend sleeping, it counts as our rest. Now, I know there's plenty of times that I have convinced myself that I'll be good after a little nap. I'll just jump back into it in the morning. Anyone else? That's fairly consistent. And I'm not discounting it. Sleep is very important. In fact, I quite enjoy my sleep. But just like the laser, you need maintenance as well. People need to be cared for. The type of rest that we're talking about when we speak about a season of Sabbath, it's an intentional one. There's an extra bit. It's not just turning yourself off. It's taking the chance to care for yourself, to purposefully put yourself first for a moment. Many people find that hard and even a little stressful. It's not meant to add to your stress, it's meant to help recharge your levels. An article that I read this week says that there are 5 types of self-care meant to help you recharge. First is physical, taking care of your body, keeping yourself healthy by eating properly, by getting fresh air, exercise, attending those appointments that you're supposed to be making, and keeping track of just your physical well-being. Second is social, taking care of your relationships, keeping in touch with your friends and family, those people who are fun to be around. They help you reach a level of inner calm. Put effort into meeting up with people and doing karaoke or hiking, a spa day with the girls, or go out for lunch with a group. Third is mental, taking care of your psyche. Doing things that stimulate you. Don't let your brain turn to mush. Like reading a book or listening to music, writing, doing puzzles, those things that make you focus and think, allowing your mind to stretch itself. We often get stuck doing the same thing over and over, day in and day out, and your brain needs diversity. Fourth is emotional. Not every day can be a perfect day. We need to be willing to let ourselves handle those low days properly. Don't bottle it up or push it aside. Work through the emotions and find your proper coping mechanisms. And fifth is spiritually, taking care of your connection to the world around you. Through meditation or prayer, you need to find where you are most comfortable in the universe. Let God guide you there and know that you are perfect in whatever role you find for yourself. It all seems so straightforward when you lay it out like that, right? We've all heard those steps before, even that particular breakdown. We've read the self-help titles in the drugstore or the articles in your favorite magazines. I get the theory. And each and every one of those suggestions, if done properly, can be considered rest. It's hard to imagine going out and, doing stuff can be restful, but it can. Because those are the moments that you're recharging and you're bringing all of your different pieces back into balance. Those can be your Sabbath moments, and they can help you rest properly. Now, there is rest, and there is rest. And rest involves the extra step. There needs to be an extra motivation, an intentional push to get ourselves to that next step. Consider these extra steps. Your phone needs to be plugged in every so often, or it's just not going to work. But it also has to have those background apps cleared, or it's just going to run slow, no matter how long it's charged. I can add chlorine to the pool, let it sit for 20 minutes before using it. But if I don't use the vacuum and the skimmer every day, the water is just still kind of gross. The garden may need watering to let everything grow, but you still have to put effort into taking all the weeds out. You can turn a computer off and then turn it on again, but no, wait, that usually works. Almost every time. Usually works. Bad example. So why is it okay for all of those things to sometimes deserve an extra step now and then? But we forget to allow ourselves an extra step. Why is that extra step considered too much work when it comes to our own well-being? Because it shouldn't be. God has given us a Sabbath. God has given us the time to put in our effort and take that extra step for ourselves. We have been blessed with a love that takes our rest and our recharging into consideration. All we have to do is use it, to use that time for our benefit. In today's first reading, we hear of Abraham and Sarah, Isaac, Jacob, each of whom were called to action by God, and they put their faith in the long term. They didn't see the story unfold to the end, but they never faltered in their actions. Then in our story from the Gospel, from Luke, we hear Jesus tell everyone about being ready to hear that call for action, to be dressed and ready for action when the call is made. But no one knows when that call is going to be made. No one knows the hour. We are to expect the unexpected. So how are you supposed to be ready for something when you don't know the timing to be ready for? How are you supposed to do something as monumental as following a call from God when you don't know exactly what to be ready for, or when to be ready, or how much it's going to take out of you? Some people will tell you to just stay ready, prep and hold. It'll come. Have you ever talked to an archer? You draw back the bow, hold it till you're ready to let loose, and then you're just going to have a bunch of problems. Your arms get tired. They'll start to wobble. The wobble will throw your aim off. The string will start to stretch, meaning it's not going to snap back as well. You'll lose power in your shot. The bow will start to bend, meaning it's getting closer and closer to breaking, either right now or the next time you try to draw back. All in all, it's poor planning. That method, at best, causes undue stress. At worst, you can have some disastrous results. If only God had given us some sort of way to get ourselves ready. Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's to take care of yourself. You're able to react to things properly when you're rested and recharged. If you run yourself ragged, what good are you to others? Like, when you fly, if any of you have done that recently, and they tell you that in case of an emergency, put your own oxygen mask on before placing the masks of others. It's the same principle. Here at St. John Stevensville United Church, we often have a lot of things happening. We recently put out a survey to see what programs should continue and what programs can just fall to the wayside, and even taking out some of the ones that have a lack of interest. This is a very happening church. We have hobby groups and study groups and outreach groups, music groups, planning groups, special dinners, special shows. I've got a mystery coming up, special tours, presentations, special services. We have people in this community who depend on us, and we personally are always looking for new ways to reach out. That's incredibly commendable. Kudos to any of you out there who participate in anything that this church puts forward. You are amazing. I see all of this programming as our call to our community. It's the way that we reach out. We spread the word, spread the love, spread that message as far as we can. We're providing a space for people to feel welcome, and then different ways to encourage them to come to us. That is our call, to have faith in Fort Erie, to love God and live Jesus. And we need to be ready to answer that call in all of its forms. So, just like the laser, we need to focus on our own maintenance. And then we know we'll be ready. Like the servant waiting for his Lord to come home during the night, we know we will be ready for all the things we are needed. God has given us the Sabbath so that we can rest. And we rest so that we can do God's work. Amen.